Hi everybody. In this video I'm going to be looking at a possible workflow for our GitHub connections, and that might help us out. I'm going to be working specifically with Visual Studio Code. For those of you who are on Chromebooks, we might have to find a different way, or you might need to use those code editors directly in GitHub, even though maybe they don't help us out as much as regular code editors do, at least until we get a better code editor for those Chromebooks. So I am in GitHub and I have created an empty repository here. I believe that that's what you're getting when you accept an assignment that I've assigned via the Github Classroom. So what I need from that is the URL for it. So I'm going to copy that and I'm going to come into Visual Studio Code, and I have nothing open in here. This one right here is source control, this icon right here. And what I'm going to do is clone a repository. And what that means is it's going to go grab a repository from GitHub and pull down all the files that are associated with it. So that would mean it does a couple things for us. It sets up the repository on the computer based on what was already established up in GitHub. And if that assignment has any files in it to start, it'll already be there when you grab it. This repository is empty, but this takes care of the setup for us. So I click Clone Repository, and it asks for the URL or a repository source. And I'm just going to paste that code in right there. That's via your URL. I haven't played with the clone from GitHub piece, but this should work just fine. And then it asks you for a place. And it's going to create a folder for it. So I've got these folders here right now, and it will create a new folder for this repository. So by putting it in my JavaScript folder, it'll create a new subfolder for this project. Okay, then it says, would you like to open the cloned repository? Yes, I would. Okay, I have no files in it, and I'm going to go ahead and create a file, and then I'm going to push a commit up. So I'm going to actually just do this over here and say index.html, and I'll just put together. Okay, so I save that. Saving it doesn't finish the job. You'll see that this now icon that shows source control has a 1 by it, and those are the changes that it's identified. Here's the message, and it asks you to include a commit message, is what it's called. The idea is to show other people looking at the project what you've done in each of those steps. So I can say initial commit here, and then I can check that. It says there are no staged changes to commit. Would you like to automatically stage all your changes? For the sake of what we're doing, yes is fine. Always would be okay too. Now I'm going to show you the results right now. There's nothing. If I reload, there is nothing, right? So I come back here, and what I need to do is come here and say push. I'm going to push the changes. You'll see I've got the clock there. It is running there. I'm going to say ask me later on this one. I think what that's going to do, get fetch, is going to go and grab any changes that have happened up there and try to merge them down. I'm just going to say ask me later for now. Now that I've run that push, I can come up here, reload my page, and my code page changes because now it has an index.html. So that gets us as far as being able to push changes. We can create another one if we want. If I go back here, notice that the folder name matches my repository name. So I'm going to create a new file, and I'm going to call it script.js. And I'm going to say alert hello world, enter, and I'm going to save that. So you notice I've got a 1 here now. And then I'm going to put in my script source here. We'll go over this some more later, but that's how we link up the script to this particular page. Now it sees that I have 2. Okay. Added hello world script, for the sake of what we're doing, again, we're not really doing complex collaboration, so it's probably not essential to do commit messages in most cases. I've got 2 changes. I'm going to go ahead and hit check. I'm going to go ahead and say always, so that it just always happens. And then I'm going to go ahead and push those changes. It's doing an upload. When I come back here, there it's done. I can reload this page, and now it's there. Okay. Final step is to take a look at the settings and enable GitHub pages. So across the top here we have the menu, the options of where to go. I'm going to go to settings. And what I'm looking for is almost to the bottom. I don't want to change anything to do with danger zone, but GitHub pages I do. It says it's currently disabled. So I'm looking for a source. I'm going to say the master branch. That's really all we're going to be working with for now, unless one of you really gets started with some interesting, maybe risky ideas. This is a good way to be able to do that. But for now, we're just going to stick with that. You'll see that it's root or docs. I'm going to stick with root, and I'm going to save that change. Okay, and then what it's going to do if we scroll down again is it's going to give you a web page. Typically, I'll go ahead and click it. Typically, it takes a little while, right? So it says GitHub Pages is temporarily down for maintenance. But after just a little bit, it'll start working. I can probably show you that here if I go into my repository and look at a previous test that I did, and look at the pages for that. And click on that. See, this one is now working after 20 minutes later. So that's how to get a repository set up to work with pages and to have that workflow going with GitHub. So I think that's probably the direction we'll go. Try it out with that first assignment that we have going, and go ahead and just create a basic page that says something, commit it to that repository, and we'll take a look at how this works. Thanks, everybody.